I'm not a die-hard comic fan, but I do enjoy a hero story or two. This game is based on a film I haven't seen, that's based on a comic I haven't read. So how confused was I? And did it spoil the game? Released in 2008 on PC, PS3, Xbox 360, and mobile phones, Wanted: Weapons of Fate is a game based on the movie of the same name. Developed by Grin and published by Warner Bros. Interactive Entertainment for consoles and iPlay for mobile, this game was quite averagely reviewed. It earned a 61 on PS3 and a 62 on Xbox and PC, described as a short, sweet, guilty pleasure, and providing an over-the-top fun experience. On the flip side, people didn't like the repetitive gameplay and plain Jane graphics, and that there was zero wow moments and zero thoughts about playing the game again. Though Wesley has the likeness of James McAvoy, he was voiced by film and TV actor Jimmy Simpson. Thomas Kretschmann, who played Cross, and Terrence Stamp, who played Pequawski in the movie, both reprised their roles for the game. Fun fact, the devs used the original design of the suit from the comics in order to make comic book fans happy, and make him look really badass. Set around 5 hours after the film, oddly specific, we play as Wesley Gibson, who's been having recurring nightmares about an assassin murdering his mother. He hears someone break into his apartment and immediately jumps into action. As a Wanted newbie, I thought Wesley was just some guy, so I was confused why he ran towards danger as he did. Anyway, he finds some soldiers trying to steal a picture of his mother, and is completely confused until they find a secret hidden in the back. After chasing down and defeating the masked man, a woman stands on the rooftop holding the secret from Wesley's picture.
Your father, but you denied the law. Curious. Let's get to know each other.
A shot is heard, and Pequawski appears.
Damn. I'm not as sharp as I once was.
He explains a thing or two, and that the Paris fraternity is coming for Wesley. He tells them the fraternity is on the hunt to find the Loom of Fate in Chicago, and Wesley must track down and defeat 3 guardians who have codes tattooed on their arms, showing the location where various fraternities wanted to move the loom to. Pequawski also informs Wesley that he was commissioned to make bullets with Wesley's name on them. If you don't want to know the ending of the game, feel free to skip past these little spoilers. We find out that the Immortal is behind the death of Wesley's mother, so he becomes Wesley's main target. When they finally meet, the Immortal tells Wesley that Cross was in fact the one who killed his mother, staying true to the fraternity code which they had broken.
We must honor the code. Look at him, Cross. He is worth dying for.
He's worth killing for.
Wesley has a one-on-one with the Immortal, using all his skills to take him down and shoot him with a bullet with Wesley's name on it. Symbolism! I would class this as an aggressive cover shooter, not because of the difficulty or anything, but because you really have to use cover in order to survive, even a little bit. If you're out from behind a wall, you will get taken down in one shot. This didn't put me off though, it just meant I had to be more careful and resist the urge to run and gun. We go between Wesley in present day and Cross from the past in interactive flashbacks, learning a little more about the story as we go. I liked how the tutorials were worked in, and they weren't too long or complex. Then, right after, we could use the new skills we learned immediately. The story was easy enough to follow, once I knew who the main characters were, but it does feel like you'd get more out of it if you at least watched the movie. At the beginning, there's a bit of an info dump that was kinda hard to keep track of. Then it all sort of thinned out around the middle. So coming from someone who had no idea what's going on, it's safe to say you don't have to be a hardcore veteran of Wanted to enjoy this game. The bullet curve was probably my favourite mechanic, and I haven't seen anything like it since. It's easy to use as well, keeping it simple enough that you don't feel like it's a chore to integrate into the rest of combat. We only have the choice of 2 weapons, both pistols, and it can be a little frustrating seeing the enemies brandishing heavy weapons but not being able to pick up and use them. We also get points where we use a sniper rifle or mounted gun, but they don't always tell you these moments are coming up. So on several occasions, I'd be put into a sniper section and just sit there, waiting to see what happens, only to realize I needed to aim in order to know I was in a standalone part. We also get a simple melee attack, and it only works if you're a certain distance away from an enemy. It's not amazing, but it's better than nothing. I really hate these guys who run at you, screaming. They require QuickTime events to defeat. And if you miss them, they can one-shot you. So I found myself trying to take them down before they got to me, purely out of disdain for QuickTime events. Wesley's character growth was a little weird in my mind, as he starts off as a clueless yet skillful fighter who's out for revenge.
You fight well, Wesley Gibson.
That runs in the family, shit pants.
Yes, of course. But so does dying.
By the end of the game, he's pretty much turned into Deadpool and has quips and sassy one-liners that you wouldn't have thought he'd say at the start of the game.
Her code was shorter than the others. I'm sorry, but this is mine. I gotta tell you, I wouldn't have minded making her scream another way, but what the heck. At least her ankles were skyward.
The levels were designed so that I didn't get too lost, and there was space for exploration in order to find collectibles. My favourite one was the plane. It did so much with such a confined space, and used it in really creative ways. Going through it first time, you have cover and plenty of things to shoot to help you get to the front. Then everything gets turned sideways as the plane nosedives, and suddenly what was once the cover is now a platform. Excuse my excitement over a simple idea, but it was done well in this game. The graphics still look good, and each area has its own atmosphere. Like in the streets and square in France, they were narrow and eerie, like a scene straight out of a war movie. The catacombs were twisted and claustrophobic, making you careful going around each corner. The boss fights were easy enough to get through, some requiring certain abilities to be used in order to defeat them. The cutscenes for them were good too, and they didn't look too uncanny valley.
And I gotta give you credit, man. I would have screamed like a bitch if that had been me.
Towards the end of the game, I was getting a little burned out by cobbled streets and stone buildings. The first part of the game had us go to so many different places. Then the last part was pretty much all in one place and drawn out. I get that it was a build-up to the Paris fraternity, and we had to be in Paris, but it felt like a little too much after a while. The final boss was also a little drawn out, and was very repetitive. You had to shoot round the corner, then when he disappears, you get guys climbing through a window. Take them down, pick up ammo, rinse and repeat. Though I do have to say, I am rather proud of my final shot. I'm usually hesitant to play movie games because so many have been so bad, but there are good ones out there. Wanted is a great game to play if you love cover shooters, and you don't have to be a seasoned fan to follow what's going on. I was a little let down by the weapon choices, but I guess using certain guns is just part of the character, in which case they did well not to stray too far from the original. I finished this in about 5 hours, and it did have its really frustrating parts, but otherwise kept me hooked on where the next level was going to be, and what it would look like. So, grab your pistols, put on your tightest fitting bodysuit, take cover, and give Wanted Weapons of Fate a try.
This guy's gonna suffer just for making me walk up all these fucking stairs.
This was fun. Let's do it again sometime. And if you like what you saw, don't forget to subscribe and leave a like down below.